guys, welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to start off by saying thank you because this video is actually going to be my 500 subscriber giveaway, which is really exciting for me. I just started doing this about a month and a half ago and I'm already surpassing 500. Whenever I film this, I'm actually at 600 something. So that's pretty exciting. So thank you guys so much for watching and leaving me comments and subscribing. Thank you guys so much. I am going to be doing a pen test in this video where I'm going to go through all different kinds of pens. I try to grab one of every one that I have and that I like. If I didn't really like it at all, I didn't really put it in this video because I don't think it's worth my time or worth your time. But I do have the majority of pens that are talked about in the planner community. So I just wanted to go through those really quick, and I'm also going to be doing a giveaway of one of these babies, the Kipling 100 pen case. If you guys have seen these before, they're really nice and they're really great to keep organized with planner supplies. This one is actually mine. Yours will be new, but I did put the goodies inside to show you what will be inside, so I will show you that, but that will be at the end of the video, so make sure you stay tuned. But thank you guys again, and now I'm going to get into the video. Okay, so I'm going to be using a larger sized plain Erin Condren notebook to show you how the pens write, because I assumed that would be the best thing to compare it to planner paper, because some are thinner and some are thicker, but this is a pretty standard size for paper and our standard weight for paper and planners. So hopefully this will give you a good idea of how they write, and I will talk a little bit about each pen. I'm going to try not to talk too much just because there's so many pens to go through. I also did grab some glossy stickers to write on, and I grabbed some, I think they're like a vinyl-like material, but these stickers are from Libby & Co. So hopefully these two papers will also give you a good idea of how certain pens write on glossy paper or how they write on matte paper and all that fun stuff. So I will get to that in a minute. I'm just going to start off with the most popular pens in my opinion. So one of the most talked about pens when I first started getting into planning was Papermate Flares. They look like this. I've only seen them with a cap on top, and they're felt tip pens. So yeah, I'll just write the name of the pen. So for me, this ink is really nice. It's nice and bold. It's easy to write with. If I have bigger handwriting, so it makes it easy to write with on this. There is a little bit of shadowing on the back of the page, so if that bugs you, this might not be the pen for you. I know some people have had trouble with these bleeding through the page if they're a very heavy-handed writer. So definitely try them out if you're not heavy-handed, if that makes sense. But I do really like these pens. I recommend them for your planner. They're one of the typical staples that a lot of people start out with. Along that same line is the Flare that is the extra fine or fine point. I'm not sure which one it is. There's only two sizes as far as I know, which is the medium and then it says Ultrafine, so I'm guessing that's the Ultrafine. So yeah, so I will go ahead and write with this one. You can see how much thinner a tip it is. I think it's a 0.5. I might be wrong. I'm really always off on those kind of sizes. So it does have the same amount of ink flow. It's just going to be a thinner point. They're good pens to write with. These ones do not have as much of a shadow. If you look, you can still see a little bit, but it's really not that big of a deal. I would definitely prefer these over the medium point and my planner just because I don't like the shadowing. And along the same Papermate trail, I'm going to use the Inkjoy. This is more of a ballpoint pen. For me, it's a much smoother write. So I do like these. It's just more of a ballpoint pen. A lot of people love these. I'm not a super fan, but they're decent. Next, I will talk about my different Sharpie pens and Sharpies. Oh, I have one more. I have a double tip one. So a lot of people use the fine tip or ultra fine tip to write on glossy stickers and on washi tape because that's honestly, in my experience, the best pen to use. I do believe Sharpie pens work on glossy paper as well. I'll try it out in a minute. I'm not 100% sure. The Sharpies, the markers, they are going to bleed through your paper pretty badly. I wouldn't recommend using these just on paper alone. And then I'm going to go ahead and use the marker, and I feel like I'm committing a crime right now. Okay, so we have the Sharpies done. So I have the fine point Sharpie pen and the medium point Sharpie pen. So I like both of these. I'm just gonna use them really quick. To me, I like the pens a lot better than the markers for writing in my planner. And then let me show you. This is on the vinyl. Okay. Oh. It's smeared pretty badly. Let's see if it does it, if I give it a minute. This is the vinyl sticker. And then I'm going to go ahead and write on the glossy and see what happens. Because personally, I am not someone who can really wait for pens to dry. So on the glossy paper, it dried very quickly. I just touched it after I finished writing and it worked great for me. Now on the vinyl, it's been a little bit and it's still smearing. So I would not recommend using the Sharpie pens on the vinyl paper. Now I know the Sharpie Ultrafine marker dries pretty quickly as well. Let's see here, and then, ooh, that's bad handwriting. And I know it does work well on the glossy paper. Yeah, see, it dried there. And it dried just as quickly on the vinyl paper. So honestly, I think our only bet out of that bunch was the Ultrafine marker for vinyl stickers. This last Sharpie pen is the medium point. So it's a little bit thicker than the fine point. Like I said, I typically prefer these just because they work better with my handwriting, but I will just leave that there. Put this to the side. A next pen is one that I've actually just recently attained, and I haven't gotten to use it quite often. This is the Pilot Ultrafine permanent pen. I know that you can't really find these in stores, near me at least. I've looked at Office Max, I've looked at office supply stores everywhere, and Target, Walmart, all those places, none of them had this pen in stock. But I was able to find it on Amazon. They sold them either by 2 or by like 12, I think. So I just purchased the 2. So I'm just trying this out. I've heard really good things. Specifically, Christiane Designs talks about this pen a lot. Her stickers are vinyl, just like the Libby & Co stickers I was using. And I think this is her preferred pen on those. So that's probably a good recommendation if it comes from her. So let me try this out. I like the way it writes so far. It's very smooth. It really feels like a Sharpie though, to be honest. So there we are on the shadow update. If you can see that, that's the Sharpie marker. The pens really don't shadow very much. A little bit more than the flares. So there's still, you can still see that there's writing there, but it's not a big deal. And then the Pilot pen, I can see a couple of dots that are starting to bleed through. But I think it'd be pretty acceptable to write in. It depends on how thin your paper is. Let's see here. So this is on the vinyl paper. And this is going to be on the glossy paper. So, it didn't smear at all for that one, which is pretty impressive because even after waiting quite a few minutes, the Sharpie pen's pretty quick to spread. Even after waiting a few minutes, they were pretty easily smeared. And then over here, didn't smear at all either. So this pen definitely gets an A+ on the vinyl stickers and on glossy stickers. I think I'll definitely be using this more often than I have been in the past. I'm pretty excited about it because I've never really seen a pen that writes that well. And it's a little bit smoother than the Sharpies in my opinion, which I like because Sharpies are really hard to stay fluid with for me. So these are the Pilot G2s. This is the bolder version. It's the 10 or the 1.0. I know There's a 0.7 and there's a 0.5 and there's also a 0.35. I have the 0.7. I'm not a big fan of it, and the only thing that's a little bit different is it writes a little bit thinner than this one. This is my personal favorite. Let's try that again. I think because it was new, it didn't write as easily as it should. So that is the bold version. I mean, it's pretty decent. It's one of my favorite pens. I don't know why I'm saying it's decent. And then this one, you can definitely see it's a little bit thinner. These pens, no shadowing, no problems. I'm not even going to try to write on these on vinyl or glossy paper with these because I know they both smear terribly. So don't waste your time on that, people. But otherwise, it's a great pen just for everyday use on paper because it's not going to bleed, it's not going to shadow. Even if you're pretty heavy-handed, you can't even see it there at all. So it's a great pen. And these are pretty typical. I think most people find that they like these. Next, I'm going to try a Uniball Signo pen. I actually ordered this online. I believe it came from overseas. I'm not positive. I've heard that the Signo pen with the cap, not the retractable, but with the cap, is good for writing on glossy paper. I've never tried this, so I'm going rogue for this video, so we'll see how this goes. So that is probably the thinnest pen I've used so far, if you can see. Let's try it. So besides it being, it didn't smear as badly as I would have thought. Let's try it again and give it a second. So it's very thin and it skips a lot when you write on glossy paper. So this one's definitely a no-go in my opinion because I feel like I couldn't really read that in my planner. Let's try it over here. It skips a lot less on the glossy paper, but still a little bit skippy. So overall, not my favorite on vinyl or glossy paper, but I do think it works. If you've ever tried this pen, I know they have a white pen in the Uniball Signo line, and I've been dying to try that one out. So if you ever tried that pen too, let me know what you think down below. Next on my list is the Lay pen. That, I believe that's the name of the pen and the type of the pen. I don't really think they have that many different pens. But this one is the Lay pen. It's just in black. Yeah, pretty typical. This one's pretty popular as well. It's a very light pen, like very lightweight, which I know is not really relevant, but it's a great pen. Wouldn't weigh down your backpack. So this one's pretty nice. It's definitely a bolder ink without being too thick, which I like. It's like a stronger ink coloring. As you can tell, like the Ultrafine Papermate Flare is a little bit thinner and it's not as bright of a color or bright of a black, if that makes sense. So I do like how the ink flows on this one, and it's a very smooth pen. I like the way it goes. So definitely good in that front. I don't think this one works. Let's see. Oh, that is very surprising. It does go pretty quickly on glossy paper. It worked for me. Let's try the Ultimate. No, I can already tell it's going to smear just because of the way it has little dots in it and whatnot. It just doesn't look good on the bottom. It might look okay to you guys, but it's definitely not going to be able to dry there. So I would not stick with that one. Okay, I have another little grouping of pens. These are the Micron, and I have one Microperm pens. I got these at Michael's. They're different sizes. This one is the 0.2, which is pretty thin. This is a 0.45. This one is the 1.0, which I've tried before, and I don't like it surprisingly, but I'll explain more about that. And this one is the Microperm Ultrafine. I think it's just the 0.5. But we'll see how it lines up with the others. These are supposed to be like archival ink, so they're supposed to be able to stay on paper for a really long time and not fade and have really bold ink. So we'll see how we like them. I'm just going to go from the smallest to the biggest, if that makes sense. Whoa, these do write very fluidly. I don't even know why I'm writing micro pen. Micron. This one is the 0.2 millimeters. It's pretty smooth. Normally, in my experience, when I have really thin pens, they skip a lot and it's hard to keep it on the paper and they're not very fluid. And I do like this one. It's easy to write with. Next up is, this one's a little bit thicker. This is the Micron 0.45, which is funny to me because this reminds me a lot of the Pilot G2, the bold, which is like a 1.0. So the different sizes of these two is kind of crazy to me, since that one's about half the size of the tip, but still works very great. I do like these a lot. This might become one of my new favorites. This is the Micro Perm. Whoa, I just bought these and it's already like kind of not writing very well. I kind of use my pens more on the side. Let's try it. Alright, so it's not as dotty or spotty whenever you write a little bit harder. I don't really like that pen, to be honest. It didn't write very well for me. I'm just going to leave it at that. Now this one looks more like a marker, so I do think this one's going to have a problem with bleeding. This one is the Pigma Graphic one. Actually, definitely not as bad as, if you guys can see it, that's the Sharpie, and this pen right here is right down here, and you really can't see it that bad. It shadows a little bit less than some of the pens I use, so if you do like a thicker like marker type look, maybe look into this one because it didn't really bleed through, but it's pretty darn thick. Let's try it on the glossy paper. Okay, give that a second. And then I'm going to go ahead and write right here. So same problem as the lay pen. The ink doesn't want to dry all the way. I can just tell, yeah, it's smeared terribly, so that's not fun. And then over here on the glossy paper, it dried pretty quick. So maybe give it a shot on your glossy paper, but definitely not on the vinyl. I feel like that's probably the main source of problems with vinyl stickers, is that it's hard to find pens that will write on them. But I definitely think this is an option. Okay, over here, this next pen has recently become one of my favorites. It is the Uniball Signo, and I'll actually be giving away one of these, and a couple of the ones I've already shown, but one of these will be in the Kipling case that I'm giving away at the end of the video. This pen was marketed as a pen that can write on glossy paper without skipping, so definitely caught my eye when I saw it in the store. So I definitely wanted to try this one out just to see if it did actually work and if it held true. But this is one of my favorite pens to use on a typical basis because it writes so well on paper as it does glossy paper. Let me show you guys. Now, I would go ahead and give this a medium point sizing if I had to guess. I don't remember from the packaging what size tip it is, but I do really like the size of this. It's not too thin and it's not too thick. You do have to kind of give it a second, but as you can see, it's not smearing now, so that's really exciting. And let's try it on the vinyl paper. So give it a second to dry. On the vinyl, it did smear a little bit, so maybe if I gave it some more time. I also have this Papermate, the Liquid Flare. I should have put it up at the top, but I'm just going to throw it in there now. This is a marker type pen. It's a medium point. I got this off Amazon in a big 8-pack a while ago, so I'm sure they're still there because Amazon has everything, but I did just want to show it to you guys. It reminds me a lot of the Flare. It's just supposed to be a little bit of a more bold ink, I guess. In my opinion, it's definitely not a medium point, but that's just me being picky. It's more of a thin point, so some of you people will be happy about that. to me, if I had to rank it, it would go right in between the medium and the fine from the Papermate flare, just because it's honestly right in the middle of those two. It's not too thick and it's not too thin. Next, I have a couple of friction pins to show you guys. This one is the retractable clicker pin. You can get these just about anywhere. I see them at Publix and Walmart all the time. These two I ordered online. This is the friction erasable marker. As you can see, it has a bit of a bolder tip, and it does have an eraser on the top. This one is just the plain friction pen, no clicker, no retractableness, and another eraser on the top. So I just wanted to compare these three for you. Let's keep that up a little bit. So this is the Pilot. Now, in my opinion, this ink is not very fun because it turns out a little bit like faded whenever you write. I don't know if that's just my experience, but I have tried a couple different friction pens, like tried new ones to make sure I'm not crazy or getting a bad batch. But these definitely look a little bit faded. They're not as bold and they're not as vibrant as some of the other pens I've tried. And let me show you guys how they erase. So let me just continue erasing that. I do like these because they do erase pretty well. I mean, they're much, much better than the pens that we use in like 1st and 2nd grade to do erasable writing. So okay, so that's that. The next one is the non-retractable. So this is the in my opinion, it's almost the same exact pen. They're both .07 as far as the tip, so they would be the same style writing, and I'm experiencing the same kind of faded look as I am with the retractable, with the non-retractable, so maybe that's just how they write. I do think the eraser on the non-retractable is a little bit better. I feel like I got more of it off. So maybe that's the only difference. And then this one is the Pilot friction marker, which you can even tell here that the boldness, like even the marker ink is kind of faded. It just looks kind of faded. Maybe that's the only reason they're erasable, who knows, but they definitely just look a little bit different than normal pens. These ones look a little bit more gray than black, if that makes sense. So I don't think these would be good pens to use on the glossy or vinyl paper. Next up, I have an Erin Condren marker. This is from one of the new sets, which I've heard are thinner than the previous ones. I don't have the old set, so these remind me a lot of the Papermate flares. So I honestly don't think you really need these unless you don't have the flares, but you could always try out both. So think what you will about that one. So far, none of these pens from like here down have been bleeding through. So if you're checking in on that, even the bolder one, I did talk about that. It does not bleed through at all, which is pretty exciting. That's that. One of the last pens I have is the Staedtler pen. I can never know if I'm saying that right. They have a couple different types of these pens. I know Staedtler and Stabilo, I think, is another brand. And they're extremely thin and they're nice bright ink. So I do find a lot of people liking these. And they also have a wide variety of colors on these, so that's pretty exciting. So that is how it writes. This is just the .4, I want to say. Just the typical one you find in the store, the sizing, the tip of it. I don't think they have a bold set of these. I might be wrong. If you guys know anything about that, let me know. I will try this. It didn't really smear at all, which I've never known that either. I'm actually learning quite a bit about these. And on this one, it definitely is going to smear. Yeah. Okay, we're getting toward the end. This is actually from a set at Walmart that has about 30 pens for, I want to say $8, which is a great deal. It's a .7 tip, so it's a fine point, which a lot of people are talking about comparing this to the Pilot G2, which is why I wanted to try it. Cheap, like I said, and they're easily accessible for a lot of people because a lot of people have Walmarts, and these are pretty prevalent at Walmart. At least when I went, they had a lot of them. So I definitely recommend trying these out. I think they'd be a great addition to a planner set. They had a lot of different colors in them, so if you do color coding or anything like that, this would be a great one. They are quick to dry. I don't think they're going to work. Yeah, they smear there, so I'm not even going to try it on the vinyl. But overall, they're a great pen. I would say they're pretty comparable to the Pilot G2. And from what I can tell, they're a little bit cheaper. So maybe try these out if you're just looking for a good pen or a good set of pens to start out. I think that's all the pens I have for you guys. I really hope this video was helpful. Let me know if it wasn't, or if it was, just leave me a comment and let me know what you thought overall or what I could do to make it better. I can definitely do another version of this if you think a way to do it would be more helpful. But now I'm just going to show you guys what goodies I have for the giveaway. So here we go. Okay guys, now for the good stuff. To say thank you for getting me to 500 subscribers, guys, I really wanted to do something that would be very fun and something that I know a lot of people would enjoy. So I actually asked around and asked people what they would prefer as a giveaway, like maybe a planner or a Kipling case. And a lot of people said the Kipling case, and I think they're a little bit harder to get your hands on, especially if you live outside the US. So this is going to be a giveaway that's open to everyone. This is my personal Kipling case, so this is not the one you're going to be winning. Yours will be new. It's all packaged up. It still has a tissue in it and whatnot. But I did put the goodies that you'll be getting inside of this so you kind of get an idea. The one I'm giving away is pink as well, so hopefully that is a color that a lot of people will like. I figured that was a pretty good color to go with for a lot of people on here. So hopefully. But I will just show you the inside. They do zip close, and they all come with like a little gorilla keychain, which I think is adorable. I'll also be including a couple different pens that I featured in this video. I have the Uniball Signo 307, which is my current favorite pen. These are all brand new, by the way. I just got these out of the packages. And this one is the Friction, the Pilot, I want to say. Yeah, it's Pilot Friction, the retractable version, which I like. This is the Pilot G207, which is one of the more popular pens. I have a lay pen in here for you guys, and I have another Signo pen that is not good on glossy paper, but it's good overall. I have a little set of the new Uniball Air pens out, so that's a brand new set for you. I do have some washi from the Target Dollar Spot. It's this really pretty coral color with some little flecks on it. I also have one of the new Halloween washi from Michaels. It's got pumpkins on it, so it's also good if you don't celebrate Halloween, and it's just good for fall. So I figured that would be a good one to give away. I included some page flags. This is a new set from the Target Dollar Spot. I also included some of these page flags that I've seen online. I don't remember where I got them, but I have the pigs and then some little birdies. And I have a little notepad from the Hello Desk collection at the Target Dollar Spot. So hopefully this is a good little collection of goodies. If you want to be entered for this giveaway, all you have to do is be subscribed to this channel that you're watching right now, which is Saraplans. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that button so you'll be entered. And make sure you leave a comment on this video. You can say anything you want, good, bad, maybe not bad. Try to be nice, guys. But I will take a comment about anything. And that's all you have to do. We're going to do one comment per person just so everyone has a fair chance. This giveaway will be open for 2 weeks. So today is the 24th. So this giveaway will close on October 8th at midnight, or we'll do 11:59 p.m. on October 8th, and it'll be announced the Friday after. So keep an eye on that. I will post it, whoever wins, down below, and I'll also post it on my Instagram, so make sure you guys are checking that out as well. Stay tuned, guys, for more giveaways and more fun videos. If you have any ideas of what you'd like to see from me, give me a comment down below and let me know. I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you guys again for 500 subscribers. Bye!